Hey guys, welcome to this podcast of the TGE Travel Chronicles. Just got back from Peru a little bit ago. Was an awesome, amazing trip. We'll talk about that as soon as I release my next video. What I really want to talk about today is the upcoming Summer Olympics in Tokyo in 2020 and the ticket prices for it, ticket availability, how to try to get tickets. I really don't talk or write a lot about the Olympics just because the IOC has really clamped down on their copyright and branding. And even when I was in the Rio Games in 2016, you can even do a Facebook Live event and film yourself and what was going on at the Olympics. Like, that's how clamped down it was. Like, I was at a basketball game, and 30 seconds in, just cut it off and wiped from my Facebook page. And I'm just like, the heck? And then come to find out, the IOC pretty much anything that's not authorized by IOC is deleted off social media, just because they make so much money from their rights selling the over to NBC and these different broadcasting companies. They make so much money off of that. They're super protective of it. So that's why I really don't film a lot at the Olympics or talk about the Olympics. And I've been going since 2010. I've been going since Vancouver. So this will be my 6th Olympics coming up next year. Of course, my good friend Tito goes to a lot of the Olympics with me. He's been to every single one but 2 of them with me. And I just want to talk about the upcoming Olympics, how bad it's going to be with tickets. When I first went to Vancouver, I didn't really realize how valuable the tickets are sometimes. I flew into Vancouver, didn't have anything on me ticket-wise. Went to a ticket booth and they pretty much told me, okay, well, we have hockey, we have curling, we have this, we have that. And not a big deal. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like, let me get a ticket for hockey, let me get a ticket for curling, and we're good. So when London came around in 2012, that I flew into London fully expecting that it would be like Vancouver. No issues with ticket prices, no issues getting tickets. Like, oh, I'll get whatever I wanted. Yeah, London was an eye-opening experience, because London, I couldn't get tickets for anything. I couldn't find resale tickets. I literally spent most of the time either at the hotel, in the club lounge, watching the Olympics from the club lounge, going around playing tourist in London, since that was my first time in London proper. And the only thing I really saw from the Olympics was a part of the marathon race, because the marathon race is technically free, because they close off the marathon track and then anyone can go and watch it. So that's the only event I saw in London. And so I'm like, okay, well, how do I go about getting tickets? So there is a few options. So first batch of tickets always goes toward the local home country first. So if you're hosting the Olympics and you live there, you get first dibs. And of course, they have different categories. They have, A, B, C, sometimes D. And so obviously D and C are cheaper. The nosebleeds are higher up. And then you have B and A seats. If you don't live in that country, then after that round happens, then it goes to authorized ticket resellers, which in the United States is a company called CoSport. CoSport, I bought tickets through CoSport for Sochi, thinking I was going to have a relapse of London and then be like, okay, like, I'm not going to get anything. This is going to be just another poor experience. So I went through CoSport, bought tickets through CoSport. Then when I actually got to Sochi, come to find out, like, they weren't really selling tickets that much, because there's issues with transportation. There's issues with hotels being open in time. Like, I knew when I was there that the Hyatt Regency and the Marriott that were supposed to be open weren't open in time for the Olympics, so people were out of hotel rooms. They couldn't find somewhere to stay. And it was just all around just poor pre-planning on that part for Sochi. So I went there in the ticket booth. They literally had anything and everything you wanted ticket wise. And so, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, do I really need to go through CoSport? Well, come to find out that CoSport actually resells the tickets at a market rate that benefits them, and they can tack on additional, I think, 10 or 15%. So it's like, okay, you're paying top dollar prices for tickets who really shouldn't be top dollar. So after Rio happened, then so for Sochi, I got tickets for Rio at the games just because the news articles were saying, oh, they're trying to give away tickets, no one's coming, they're not hitting their expected targets. So I held off. I didn't buy tickets on CoSport. I was like, okay, I'll wait and see how this plays out, and then come to find out, yeah, I mean, I can get whatever I wanted in Rio. So same thing with Pyeongchang in last year, 2018. Kind of wait and see how to play it out. Didn't want to buy tickets ahead of time. And same thing, got pretty much almost whatever I wanted. But surprisingly, curling was sold out. Yeah, curling. Sold out. Every single day I was there. And I was there 5 days. And I was like, interesting. Okay. So for Tokyo 2020, of course, I'm over here thinking like, oh, I'm just going to wait till the last minute. Same thing. It's not going to be huge demand. Well, there's these news articles coming out, and I'm reading one right now about how bad it is getting tickets, how there's even a hotel package. Well, there's a package for $60,000. $60,000 will get you opening and closing ceremonies, 9 days of track and field, luxury seating and dining. 60 grand US dollars. And I'm just like, okay. They had a lottery in Japan for tickets, and only about 8 to 10% of people that actually put in for lottery got tickets. So it's like, and even with CoSport, they released a batch at a certain date, but they keep getting more tickets and slowly releasing without saying anything because they don't want to overload their servers, which is totally understandable. But even then, like, tickets are selling out super quick. And so now it's like we're reliving what happened with London in 2012, where I feel like there's going to be this huge demand for tickets. There's still going to be empty seats because a certain percentage of the seats actually goes towards, press, media, sponsors. But since those are giveaway tickets, you're not obligated to go. So it's like, well, okay, I don't have to go. And then they, you don't show up. And so it looks like there's empty seats in the stands when there really isn't. But I wish there was a better way of delegating the sponsorship tickets and be like, okay, are you actually going to show up or not? Because if not, then, we'd rather resell it for someone who's actually there that wants to go, wants to see these events, see these, great athletic achievements. So the prices vary. I mean, of course, they always tack on like, oh, there's going to be tickets for, 2020 yen, which is about $19. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty much only for locals. Those tickets are pretty much already sold out. I mean, we're looking at paying pretty good money because right now what's going on is that in the next month or two, they're going to have another lottery. So they're going to have another lottery. They're going to see what type of ticket allotment they have. And then they're going to go one more time. And then sometime next spring, so sometime either February or March, then anything else that's left over then all of a sudden becomes available to the general public at the Japanese prices, the local prices, through the actual website. That, I believe, is just going to be an absolute free-for-all. Because if the demand is like what it is now, like it was for London, it's going to be ridiculous. Hotel prices are also soaring too as well. But the other thing that happened when I went to London was that pretty much the Marriott Starwood site everything was blocked out for those dates. Couldn't get a room. Everything was blocked out. And then about a month out, when they realized like, oh, a lot of these people visiting the Olympics are actually locals. They live here. We're not really getting a lot of out-of-towners. All of a sudden, you would see just inventory open up. And I ended up getting a room in Marriott Park Lane, just really nice hotel right in downtown London. And I ended up using points, like they have points reservations available, and so it's just like, wow, okay, like first you're full, but you're not. But they were blocking inventory because they have to hold off rooms for the IOC. There's a couple other corporate sponsors because I knew the hotel I stayed at like had extra security because I guess the Kenyan national track and field team was actually staying at that hotel. A bunch of bigwigs from McDonald's were staying there. So I can understand why. So if you are planning on going to the Olympics and you can't find room inventory that you want, like hold off till about a month or two prior, because usually at that point they can kind of realize like, okay, who's actually going to use the rooms, who's not, how many, and then whatever excess inventory they have left over, then they pretty much let it go, and it's a free for all. So I highly recommend that. Also, Airbnb is pretty big on the scene now because back when I first started doing the Olympics, Airbnb really wasn't huge, and now it is pretty big. I mean, last Olympics I stayed at an Airbnb in a condo because out in Pyeongchang there really isn't any Americanized hotels. There's only there's a Holiday Inn and an Intercontinental in Pyeongchang by the ski slopes, and of course that's all full and taken by the IOC. Like I already knew like those are pretty small hotels, so it's like yeah, that inventory is not going to happen. So end up getting Airbnb at a condo by the Olympic Park where the open ceremonies were at, and that was amazing. It was really cool. It was actually a decent price. But Japan, it's ridiculous because there was an Airbnb I stayed at a couple months ago when I went to Tokyo, and it was an 8-bedroom. There was no living rooms, and it was super narrow hallways with like a little kitchen. But it was literally perfect for what I needed because pretty much it's like, oh, I just need a bunch of beds for a bunch of people, a couple bathrooms, kitchen, just good to go. So that place usually went for, I'd say about 300, 350 a night, which if you have 12, 14 people, like that's pretty good to split it, like no big deal. During the time of the Olympics, it's jacked up, obviously. Jacked up a lot. Like 1,400 a night. A lot. And I even messaged them. I was like, hey, I stayed with you guys in January. Like, is there any way you can like cut me a little break? Like because I was ready to, throw down money and be like, hey, I'm willing to reserve it. Like guaranteed I'll get you just, cut me a break. And obviously they wouldn't budge. So I'm just like, so getting rooms in Tokyo will be a challenge. I mean, the inventory at least is there, like London, but we'll have to just wait and see for that. So more of the story is trying to get tickets for Tokyo. I highly recommend holding off until the spring when the ticket resale happens for the general public and the Japanese prices actually post up. Because if you're going to go, I mean, why pay an extra 20 to 30% more to buy it now through a reseller when there's an opportunity? I mean, it depends upon the event you want to see, though. If there's something like deep down in your heart you truly want to see, and you truly want to go, and you know you want to see it, I would buy it. I mean, obviously don't wait. But if you're just trying to fill in your schedule and your dates, wait. I would wait. I mean, I'm not really particular on any event. I mean, I just like going there for, seeing from everyone around the world, the camaraderie, the sportsmanship, and it's just an amazing event. And it's amazing to meet and see different people from all over the world congregate at one spot. And it's pretty amazing. And for those of you planning your day at the Olympics, I personally highly recommend you give yourself a lot of time in between venues if not in the same clusters, or try to plan your day within the same cluster. Because when I first started going to the Olympics, I just kind of was hopping all over the place. Like in Sochi, I did an event, I did curling, and then I did luge event. I'm thinking like, oh yeah, no big deal. Like it's the Olympics, they're all super close. No, so from curling, it was on the coast in Sochi, in the big Olympic park. Then they have the Alpine Park. The thing though is that you had to take the train from the Olympic Park up to the Alpine Park. It only ran about once every half hour, and it was about a good hour ride up. So if you didn't plan it right, you were planning on maybe not getting there for another 2 hours. And of course, the events were like hour and a half in between. And so, of course, we missed the start of the luge event. And so if you do go to the Olympics, I mean, everything on the map, when you look at it, may look really close and compact and easy. No, I mean, give yourself tons of time if you're transferring between clusters, but if you're within the same cluster and everything's just right there, then it's really easy. Because I mean, last time I went and everything was in the same cluster, like I know in Sochi, like, speed skating, figure skating, curling, they're all in the same cluster. And if they're all in the same area, then not a huge deal. Like literally, it's only maybe like 5 minute, like 5-10 minute walk tops. So if you do plan on going to the Olympics and getting tickets, make sure you try to plan your day strategically. Make sure you stay in the same cluster. I mean, unless if there's something you absolutely want to see and you only can get tickets for a certain event, then plan a lot of travel time in between the clusters when you're actually there. So, other than that, this is it for this episode talking about Olympic tickets and just the Olympics in general. TGE Travel Chronicles. Thank you very much.